Welcome in, everybody, to the newest episode of All Things NBA from A to Z. I'm Chris Persianen here alongside Zach Noble. Very excited to get right into our second of two conference preview shows. We did the Eastern Conference. You can go check that out on the YouTube, on audio, Spotify, Apple, you name it. 1 through 15 are predictions for the Eastern Conference. Today, it is time for the Western Conference. So we're recording this right after the season started. I think definitely still early enough to get a prediction pod out. Let's get right into it, Zach, because this is pretty much a continuation of our other show. Who do you have at number 15 in the Western Conference, and why are they finishing last?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna do the little caveat that everybody's played a game, okay? So there's a little bias, but a little not. I'm never gonna let one game, especially the first game, influence me ever. This is basically how I saw it in the preseason before that, so I don't think I'm swaying shit too crazy off one lousy regular season game. Anyways, my number 15 team was way harder 15 through 1 in this conference than these. I am so confident in my Eastern pick, so bear with me, folks. My 15 seed is the Portland Trailblazers, and they fall into my last and final tier, obviously, with about 4 teams. So much bigger tiers than my Eastern Conference as well. But yeah, I'm pretty set on Portland being 15. They could finish as high as 12, but I'm pretty confident in this one. How about you?
I've got Utah at 15, man, and this was a hard one for
Ooh,
me because they've got one of my favorite head coaches in the entire NBA in Hardy. But the thing with the Utah Jazz is twofold for me. One, the talent is enough in terms of it being weak where I can put them in the conversation for being the last seed in the conference. That's one factor. The other factor is that they're going to be counting a lot on young guards. With that factored in, I think it only makes sense to say that, you know, with developmental bumps, valleys as they come, that these guys are going to drop a lot of games. I really do trust Hardy to make the most out of this team. I also just think that they might trade Jordan Clarkson midseason. They might trade Colin Sexton midseason. The Kelly Olynyk, right? The thing with him, when he is on the court with Utah and Lauri Markkanen, I love his fit. Does a contender love his fit just as much? Do they want to pry him away? So does Detroit need a mid-season upgrade really bad because they have a weak season as I've projected, and they want Olynyk there spacing the floor? Like, I just think that something might happen where this team has a really rough go of it and relies a lot on Keontae George, who was really high on my big board, who I really like. And you also take a look at the fact that, you know, you got to remember Bryce Sensabaugh got drafted there as well. And these are two guys who should be playing for this team this season, but who, because they're rookie guards, are going to struggle. That's natural, but I'm going to bake it in here into my calculus. I've got the Jazz at 15.
so I'm okay with the Jazz at 15, but like the fact that you're baking in all these trades, man, is wild to me because
Nah,
I look at
you
all these
have
guys
to.
as they have to be the future. Yes, for teams that are realistic, but like Lauri Markkanen, I think they're looking at him as the foundation to build off of. I mean, they didn't. I feel like they would have traded him at sold high in the offseason, even though they could still do that coming up for sure. Coming up, but like John Collins, I mean, they brought him in as well, and so they don't mind this age group. Is what I'm getting at a little bit. And Colin Sexton, to me, I think he still has so much more to go. They're hoping he is part of the future too. I do like these pieces. They just got to figure it out. Like I love Ochai. I love Keontae George like you. I think he's a long time starter in the NBA, maybe even a little more than that. It's going to be exciting to see them roll out these lineups. It's like Jordan Clarkson's the only trade piece that's for sure should be gone already, in my opinion, and just release the youngins. Like let them run free. But who would you prioritize right off the bat between Ochai and Keontae George?
Keontae George. Much higher on
Wow,
him
right
in
up.
his draft class than I was on Agbaji. And if they were in the same draft class, I would have been much higher on George. You know, I think Keontae George has the potential to become like a taller CJ McCollum. I hate player
I agree.
comparisons where you have to make a caveat. So sorry. But I just think it's a thing where he can be a guy who's either high assist, high threes, or both. I'm not expecting him to be a stalwart on the defensive end. I don't think anyone is, and that's okay. I think he'll be really productive offensively. I thought Orlando should have targeted him over Anthony Black or over Jett Howard. I'm just really high on Keontae George. Love him.
I'm with you. Yeah, absolutely. I think Ochai can be almost like a Desmond Bain. I'm that high on him.
Oh,
So
that's too high for me.
yeah, it's spicy. But I have Utah at 14,
I have a
which
sneaky suspicion as to why you're so high on him.
yeah, there's a
Mr.
little bit of
Kansas.
bias there.
Mr.
Um,
Kansas.
37 wins last year. They're going to be dropping quite a bit with that 14 slot, which is crazy because they still have their best player. They didn't lose anybody really, and they just went younger, right? I mean, I think everybody else just got better. I mean, because that's where Jazz fans are going to push back on this. They're like, shouldn't we only get better with an all-star on our team? And adding Walker Kessler getting better and adding these other pieces like John Collins, Keontae George. So I just think, yeah, a lot of teams got better. Jazz are 14 for me. Who's your 14?
At 14 for me, man, this was a tough one. If you listened to our Eastern preview, I think you got a hint as to who I might have here. It's the Houston Rockets. I'm not expecting a big season out of them. I think Jalen Green shows some growth enough to where he has several 30, 35-point games. I don't think it's enough to where they win a lot of basketball games. I know they brought in Van Vliet and Brooks to start to provide some sort of sense of stability there and just have some sort of veteran talent. They very well might finish 11th or 12th. But I've got to put them at 14 because I like these other teams a hair better. If you want to factor in trades, think the Blazers maybe move Jeremy Grant. I'd be very happy to put Houston at 13 and move Portland down to give away my next pick. I know, sorry, but just trying to contextualize here that this bottom of the West is in flux for me as well. Zach, I had trouble placing these teams as well. So, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, the bottom was easier for me. It just gets only harder going up this West
Yeah, I
for
think
me.
the West was harder than the East overall to me, as
Yeah,
was my point. Yeah.
I'm glad you agree on that. So I got Houston at 13. And honestly, I just don't want to compare the two. So I got San Antonio right above them at 12. But like San Antonio looked amazing coming out in game one. Okay. They looked like the team that I said Greg Popovich has been washed the last 5 years, and then they have this ghost coach or something coming in because that ball movement looked like the 2014 Spurs. It was quite special. And I was trying really not hard not to be super biased here because I like the Houston Rockets on paper much better. I think they should be more advanced, especially adding guys like Fred and Dylan Brooks. And that's what they brought him in for. And Ime is there to win games right off the bat. They
Yep.
got their cancer out in Kevin Porter Jr. So I'm going to just say it's a one-off game for Houston. And they finished up a little bit here, but time will tell. I think Houston could finish even higher, 9 or 10, even if everything goes accordingly, because I'm still really high on Jalen Green and Jabari. Şengün, I mean, it's so apparent they need a shot blocker. It's so apparent they need somebody that's going to protect the rim and be a perimeter I mean, not a perimeter defender, a post defender. It's just like, I don't think they're ever going to get it. I mean, Jabari is not looking like he's going to get the job done there. I'm believing he's going to, but I'm not there yet. Again, I got San Antonio 13 and then Houston 12. So San Antonio, it's the point guard situation for me, but Vassell's going to take another leap. He looked great in game one, and they just looked polished. They looked really polished. I think Victor is going to contribute to winning on a high level game one and beyond here. So I don't know. It's going to be a battle in Texas between those two. Who do you got at 12?
Yeah, so I gave that I had Blazers at 13. The
Yep.
reason for that, Jeremy Grant still good at basketball. Scoot Henderson going to be a good player. Like I think yes, he's a rookie guard, but he's also a really, really big time prospect, and I do think he'll be able to come in and provide value early on alongside Anthony Simons. Matisse Thybulle is someone I don't think sticks in that starting lineup or sticks on this team past this season. Shaden Sharp, has that spot, and I don't think Thybulle will impress. Shaden Sharp to me is going to be a really, really good sixth man, like really good. Sure, he could start given different contexts, but guys who have the skill sets that he have with the weak that he has with the weaknesses, I think he'll have that aren't like big star level players tend to be real, better off the bench. I'm not saying he's going to be like a Norman Powell kind of player because I do think he has more athleticism, but Powell had a great
Yeah.
season last season. Lots of scoring from Powell. So
Dude,
that's
he's
not that's
peaking at his old of age. It's
yeah,
insane what
that's not
Paul's
a that
doing.
yeah, so that's not a low bar at all, man.
No, he's only getting better.
Shaden, I always compared as a prospect to J.R. Smith. Think that he's really good. And then the Blazers have these two centers now that are both good at basketball. One of them, Rob Williams, I think is like the sixth best center in the NBA. So to me, it comes down
Yeah,
to will these guys be able to put it together? Will they play competitively? I think they're going to be a rebuilding team. I don't think they win a lot of games. I can see them eking it out over Utah for sure.
so who's your 12?
I have San Antonio at 12.
There we go.
I'm high on Devin Vassell. I'm very high on Jeremy Sohan. I think everyone thinks Victor Wembanyama is going to be a good player, but it's the other guys on this team that really do it for me in terms of putting them here at 12. You take a look down the Spurs roster at just productive players. You have Keldon Johnson, who I think a lot of people overrated a year or two ago. Now is I think
They're underrated.
accurately rated to underrated as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Doug McDermott, gets moved around a lot, but he can play. Chetty Osman, same thing. Not moved around a lot, but he maybe he should be moved around a lot. Um, Trey Jones, decent player. I just think you have guys on this team that you can go ahead and look at as people that are going to contribute this season in a way where around Vassell, around Sohan, around Wembanyama, they make some things happen. They win some ball games with the good coaching out there, and they look decent.
Yeah, how many minutes do you think Wembanyama is playing this year?
29.5 a game.
I was gonna say 29-ish.
Hey,
I think that's very fair. The point guard situation to me is just Point Rodman. That was game one. I just Trey Jones doesn't get it done for me. Malachi Branham, is he gonna be? Where's it coming from? Like I don't know. They got to trade for one.
Sohan.
Are you serious? Point Rodman?
Sohan.
Like you think they're sticking with that all year?
That kid can play. He's very high
Yeah, he can
IQ.
play. He's very good, but
They have Zach Collins to start,
point guard.
who they like, and Sohan can be the initiator for all these other guys. They've got Height out there along with him. I'm gonna buy Sohan as a lead initiator on a bad team. Remember,
All
this
right.
is not gonna be. Neither of us think this is gonna be a really winning team, right? So
But I mean,
why can't he be the lead initiator on a bad team?
to be ahead of teams like Utah and Houston, like I think these teams are
So
gonna
who's
be
Utah's distributor that's low turnover and cure all? I'll take Sohan as my lead distributor over Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton is not a passer. You know that. You know that. You know
He's not
Colin Sexton
terrible.
is
He's
not a
not great.
passer.
He's not great, but he's not Jeremy Sohan. Come on.
You're right. He's not.
All right, number 11. This starts my tier 3. Man, it's like these teams all have all-stars, dude. They all have so much talent, and it's just like
We had
you're leaving
LaMelo
them.
Ball and Paolo and all these other guys. Yeah, I had
Yeah,
those
but
guys
they
near the
don't compare
bottom.
to like these loaded rosters. They don't. It's just one of them on
You're gonna put
those
the
teams.
Pelicans here?
I am putting the Pelicans
Oh
here.
no! I know you
Dude, you're
too
just
well,
reading my
man.
mind, man. Dude, you're getting good at this. So it's just Zion, man. Like when he plays, he's been so good. Whether it's for a 3-game stretch or a 10-game stretch or 20-game stretch, he's just shows up and he's plays no matter what type of shape, and it's productive and it seems very good. CJ McCollum's a winning player. I just think they're going to be in almost every game. Brandon Ingram's the outlier to me, and I just hate that. I feel like he rots on this team. I don't like his fit. I've never liked the Zion Ingram pairing.
I
Um,
like it. I like point BI
Trey,
with Zion. I like these non-point guard initiators, man. Buy them.
it's going to be interesting because that's a severe disagreement. I mean, I like them. Like if there's still a true point guard on the team, like even if it's just like a Tyus Jones there, that's fine. But like, I
They can
need a
go get
true
him if
point.
they really want, but it's not about that. They got Alvarado. How much better is Tyus Jones than Alvarado this season? I think.
Oh, I'm not worried about the Pelicans because I think CJ McCollum gets the job done at the point guard spot. Like
I
compared
don't
to
think he gets the
we're
job
talking
done
about.
at any spot.
Oh my God, dude! All right, we're bringing out the disagreements
No
left and right. I
bueno.
love
He's
it.
no bueno.
You just what? You don't think he's an NBA player?
Okay, really? Yeah, who said that? I think that he's a sixth man.
CJ McCollum, he's no good at any spot.
Sixth man. If you're trying to be a good team, you don't start him.
He made the Western Conference Finals as a number 2.
When? When I was in
With
high school?
back in the day, accurate days, bro. He put up 24 last night efficiently. I mean, he just brought the Pelicans to the playoffs. I mean, as arguably the best player on throughout the team for the most of the year. You
Nope.
think he's just like washed
Nope.
up since
No,
his
he's not.
Portland days?
Brandon Ingram is the best player on that team, and this year it'll be Zion Williamson.
Oh man, I mean it's close. Yeah, that's a fine take, but it's close. But to say CJ McCollum had no part in that,
I think there
like
were a lot of games where there were enough games where they won in spite of him for me to say that I'm not there. I think the defensive end goes wildly underrated in these discussions. He's bad, bad, bad. Now,
terrible.
why do we have
I
heat
mean,
for Trae Young and Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton? You know, I think the right people give him heat for his defense. Why do these guys get heat for their defense, but CJ McCollum, who has worse offense than any of those three guys, doesn't get as much?
because
I just because I think
well,
people
he doesn't get
expect
the
less of
love
him.
either.
Exactly. So
He
he
doesn't.
flies under, but in these conversations, you got to factor in that in a closing lineup, they have to play a guy who can't guard. That's tough.
But that's why you got Alvarado and Herb Jones to cover him up
And
too.
then you're small. Alvarado, CJ, Herb, BI, Zion is your five. Where's the center, my guy? You got to go Zion at the five to close. And that is something that you hope he can sustain throughout the course of the season.
You're not paying CJ to come off the bench. It's just not happening. So I mean, in a closing lineup, I'm going CJ, Herb, Brandon, Zion. Um, Obviously Trae if he was healthy, but it all depends on the team too. I mean, Valanciunas can get in there, but I think Trey Murphy's the reason why I got him at 11.
He is good.
Back to the rundown, and then Zion obviously with his health, but yeah, I think they still have plenty of talent to finish much higher. Who's your 11?
So listen, man, at 11, I've got the Oklahoma City Thunder. Don't spit out your drink. I am fading this team this season. I really like what they've added. I love Case and Wallace for them. I love Jalen Williams. You know that. And I'm a big Chet Holmgren guy. He was number one on my big board that season. But I do think this season, with Case and Wallace playing a role for them, rookie guard, I think Josh Giddey is getting a little overrated right now. Their big man play, besides Chet, is a little concerning to me. I'm just not too excited about this team. And I think that they will, by mid-season, start trying to lose basketball games. So I'm projecting a tank here down to the 11th seed and out of the play-in so they can, try to optimize their draft selection so that they get one more run at the draft, bring in a young player, and then start consolidating. Trade Giddey and Dort and a bunch of draft picks for someone real good. Whatever it is they can do.
I mean, it's OKC. I'll never put it past them, but if they didn't try to tank last year, like I'd see how they do it again. They just have so
That's
many
super
other.
fair. That is super. That is super
They,
fair, man. I just think that I don't know that Shea averages 30 points a game again.
he's
And I'm
coming out
really
banging, man. But
and
I
I'm
don't think he
really
needs to.
high.
I don't think he needs to. I
And
think
I'm real
Chet's going to
high
be
on
very
Shea.
good. Yeah, no, I think he's going to be fantastic, and I think as long as they're in the top 12 team, he's going to be in the MVP race for a lot of the year, like top 10 MVP race is what I mean. But like if they somehow find a way into like the 6th seed, yeah, he's going to be much higher in the MVP race, top 5-ish. But I'm not telling you where I got them. Obviously, I got them higher, but my biggest concern is their big man rotation. It's always been. But like I think Chet and Big J will work fine down the road. I think they can make that tandem work. Do I think that's their championship championship roster if everybody reached their full potential? No, I don't believe in Big J that much, but I do think on paper, outside of that big man spot, I think they have everything they need. It's just, does the Giddey SGA pairing get it done? Like, I'm not sold on that fit either. But I think it can. I think the talent can exceed the fit there, so I'm not ready to just ship him out for nothing either. I love Dagnall. I think he's going to raise things even more there. I think Chet's going to surprise the rookie. Time will tell where I got him here. But number 10, this one to me, I made this move. I will tell you, this is the one that impacted me after game one. But also, I mean, they weren't this very high in general. But like, I love their depth coming into the year. It's just, I'm going to let game one sway me a little bit. The Memphis Grizzlies come in at 10 for me. And that's Ja missing 25 games. Taylor Jenkins, he's coached his ass off for too long, so he's due to have a down year. Don't believe in Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to take some astronomical leap to be able to get this team much further, and that would be his job. I mean, I think Desmond Bane's going to be the guy that does that, to be honest. I think Desmond Bane's taken a huge jump this year, and people are finally going to understand who he really is, which he's flown under the radar the last few years. You mentioned a couple guys before, but I think Desmond Bane's been super underrated. I think he can make an all-star game coming up.
All-star.
Two-way player, man. It's just we don't value defense anymore, and like
we don't value defense.
We do. I mean,
you're the one talking to me about CJ McCollum this and
but we're talking about him at the 11th seed.
Colin Sexton that, and oh man,
we got our guys. I got my guys.
I don't blame you. Listen,
Sexton's got that dog. I'm not calling Sexton a borderline all-star or anything, so don't put me.
I get it. I've got the Grizzlies right around here too. I just think that Bane is really good, and it's okay for someone to be really good and never make an all-star game.
Yeah, I mean, look at CJ McCollum.
Yeah, sure. That happens. Not an all-star level player. Awesome. Glad we agree.
Oh man, he was so close. Like
he was close. He was close. He played in a tough West, really tough West. You want me to go at 10?
10.
Dallas. I've got the Dallas Mavericks here.
That's the one that does me. I love it though. I think they love it.
I think they have a rough season, man. Jason Kidd looks like a caricature of himself on the sideline already. I think the Mavericks are one of those teams that have locker room issues throughout the season, have motivation problems throughout the season, have trouble throughout the season, digging in deep on a game-to-game basis and doing what it takes to eke out wins. I can see teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Memphis Grizzlies winning games against them that the Mavericks just should win. Luka Magic is always going to get sprinkled in. He's always going to give them a shot, and he's going to win them some really, really close games. I just think that this season, this is not the team to push your chips in on. I like Kyrie Irving's game. I think he's really good on the basketball court. And I think Dallas did a good job of finally going out and getting a star level talent for next to Luka Doncic. Oh, wait, they had Kristaps Porzingis. They had Jalen Brunson. These guys looked better in Washington and New York than they did with Luka because Luka's game is not conducive to anything but right now, second round appearances and Luka ball. I just don't see it with his style of play. Now this season, can he pull a Trae Young that I think Trae Young is going to do? Can he start defending? Can he start moving and playing off the ball? I think Luka has that in him. Let's see it. Until we see it, I'm not going to be comfortable projecting this team to be atop a really, really tough Western Conference. Going to go with the 10th seed for the Dallas Mavericks, who, let's finish off here, are relying on a rookie for their big man play who is really good and is also 19 years old.
No, I absolutely hate that I have to rely on this rookie big man, but he looks fantastic early. He looks, when I saw him in the preseason and just game one, is like his girth is real. His girth is real. Like his width, his broad shoulders, his muscles. I mean, he's there. He's a man. He's ready. He's not 19. Look, he's not no Chris Persianen looking. No, I'm just kidding. He came into this league built, and I'm excited for this dude. I'm probably going to be wrong about him being too much of an impact player right away, because that's what I'm also banking on
He's going to
Grant
be
Williams.
really good long term. I
Yeah.
think the
No,
sentence banking on Grant Williams just says enough. You're done.
but here's where I push back on what you went on your roundabout about Brunson, Kristaps. I mean, Kristaps not so much, but Brunson was coming into a shell. I think he was so incredibly young. He went from the number 2 option to number 1 in New York. It's just a natural progression, and it's like you can't fault Luka for any of that, even though I agree with most of your takes on Luka there. Like, I'm not pushing back on them. I'm just disagreeing with them because I think it's just the progression of the game for Jalen Brunson and the journey he's on. Kristaps, I mean, that's just a terrible fit in coaching. It should have been a great fit, and the coaching didn't interconnect the two of them by any means. Jaden Hardy, I don't know if he's even going to be important this year anymore, but he was able to blossom last year with Luka, and that's something. It's just I don't know if they're going to use him again with Kyrie Irving there. I do like Josh Green. I do like DFS. I think they have enough to win a lot of games in this conference, but this conference is so loaded. Once again, I'm going to keep saying that because we might be past the days of one player, or Luka just might not be that dude to be able to carry a team for 50 wins in the regular season. This is the year we're about to find out. I think this team on paper, I mean, like, if you want to compare him to like the James Harden architect, this team on paper is as good as any Harden Houston team. I said it. Boom. That's my statement. I'm sticking to it. I also thought the one with Brunson was. I mean, it was close. It depends, like, because I was so much,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I was so much lower on Chris Paul than everybody else. But like that fit, Chris Paul and Harden, it was just one of those where the talent exceeded the fit. You put the two of the smartest players of all time together, and they made it work. But we don't need to get into the history of 2018 right now. Number 9, had to do it. I wanted to throw him up at number 3, but I pulled the reins back, and this is where my boys come in. I'm really torn about this one because I do think Ant's going to take another level, and I do think Jaden's going to go crazy this year. I think Cat's going to be very important. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I just don't think Chris Finch has made a dent in tying things together. I don't think this team works. Like, the Cat Gobert pairing is going to probably be broken up in a month or two. I just too much smoke. It's one of those things. Too much smoke. There's fire. I think Cat's the next star to get traded, so that's why I have them here. Even though, even with or without Cat, I think we could jump way up the standings. But I'm confident in this, kinda. That's where I decided to put them. I'm sorry, Minnesota. I had to do it. I'm being unbiased. I've nailed the Wolves win total the last 2 years. This year it's so hard for me just because I freaking hate this pairing. I just don't even want to put a number on it. I might just avoid it.
Yeah, I could see the Mavericks finishing higher than the Wolves. Like, this Western Conference is really, really, really difficult for me, man. Um, this Western Conference is really hard for me. I at the 9 seed, this is where I have the Memphis Grizzlies. So I've got Memphis here. I think they win about 15 to 17 of the games without John Morant, maybe 12 or 13 on the low end out of the 25. But I really do think they take a majority of those 25 games. And I think they have a good season after that. I really think it's that simple. I think Marcus Smart is a good addition for them. I think it's going to stink not having their starting big body center to help out Jaren Jackson Jr. down there. Go get Robert Williams. Go get DeAndre Ayton. Probably not. So go get Robert Williams. Go be a good team and get Robert Williams. That's what good teams do, is they go get talent and opportunities where
Man, if
they need them.
Memphis or Dallas goes and gets Robert Williams, they're probably a contender for me almost.
Dallas
Right?
would be one if
Are
they
they
have
for you?
Lively off the bench. if they keep him in that deal.
Yeah, that's another point.
Exactly.
But so, if
Does
they got
Dallas
Robert
trade
Williams right now,
Hardy?
it depends what they give up, huh?
I think they would be in my top 6 instead of my top 10.
It just all depends if Kyrie and Luka can actually work, because they didn't last year. They sucked
Yeah,
together
I would put
last
them at
year, and
like 5 or 6. Definitely 6,
worst
probably 5.
worst defensive backcourt of all time, maybe. I don't know.
Yep. So we'll see what Luka gives us this year. For me, it's the Grizzlies at 9. I think Ja is a good season once he's back. I really like Desmond Bane. I really like Jaren Jackson Jr. I really like Xavier Tillman Sr. Zaire Williams has a chance to have a good little season for himself, have his first real contributing season. I think I buy it with this team this year as a team that can stay afloat and do what good teams do, which is stay afloat. I just see them doing this because of Bane, because of Jaren Jackson Jr., these guys they have that are just productive.
All right. So my next one here, on to number 8. This is where the solidified playoffs go on, and
The top of the play-in, the solidified playoffs is top 6, right?
8 teams make the playoffs. I mean,
Okay. All right.
so
All right.
I'm essentially picking this team to win the play-in. All
Okay.
right.
Okay. Okay. Got you. Got you.
So with that
I didn't do
said,
that. I did regular season standings. That's
yeah,
interesting.
that's all these are. That's all these are, is regular season standings, finishing. But like, obviously, you should think the 8th seed you pick here should be able to win the play-in, right? But anyways, I'm going with OKC at 8 here. Any higher, you can call me clinically insane. But I think this is a natural progression for them. Um, I just think the other guys are going to Jalen Williams, Chet. I think they work together. I think these guys love each other. The chemistry, the vibes are immaculate. I think coaching's there. I think SGA becomes more of a winning player this year. Defense goes up. I think he can be a tremendous two-way player. I think he already is a good two-way player, but I think he could be a very, very good defender as well. He's one of those guys where he came into the league as a very good defender, and then it went down a little bit, and then just showed flashes as time goes. But yeah, I'm confident OKC can come into the 8th seed and make it a really tough first round series if it's not Denver, which who knows where we got Denver.
I hear you. I feel like I'm already wishing I was higher, mildly higher on the Thunder, not much higher. For the 8th seed for me, I have New Orleans here. I'm buying Point BI and the Zion pick and roll. I think they created like 5
Point
straight.
BI.
They created like 5 straight good shots last night on BI Zion pick and roll. I just really buy it. I think it's going to create good offense, and I think it is good offense in itself, in its own right. I'm in on those two. They're really talented basketball players. I think Zion brings it this season. I think he kind of knows he has to. I don't know if he brings it for 82 games. Maybe he brings it for 68, but you'll take it, right? It's better than what you've gotten so far. I think that's where we're at with Williamson. I think that says a lot about him. I think that's why I don't have them higher than the 8th seed. But despite their CJ McCollum situation, they've got Trey Murphy, they've got Herb Jones, they've got Jose Alvarado. They have a lot of guys that are really good complementary players. They've got 2 stud talents in Ingram and Williamson. Consider me in on the New Orleans Pelicans this season as being a team that could potentially, be a tough first round matchup that eventually does go home in the first round again, like they did most recently.
Fair enough. Trey's not as out as long as I thought he was. He'll be back November 17th, it's saying. So Zion, how many games does he need to play for you to think they'll be an 8-9-ish seed?
65. Go get those awards, baby.
Okay. For me, I think they have the talent for him to only have to play 50, 55. But I believe in coaching a
I would
little
say
more
I'll
there
say
than you.
60. I'll say 60, 62.
Cool. All right, number 7 starts my tier 2. I'll say my tier 3 was OKC, Minnesota, Memphis, and New Orleans. I think that's pretty interchangeable there. Tier 2, the bottom of it. Obviously, this can change with a big trade, but I'm banking on just a certain amount of games from PG and Kawhi, and they don't really care about seeding. So I think this is a fair spot for them. I think they can still win coming in as the 7th seed, but they should want to finish higher, to be honest. They should want home court advantage to give themselves the best shot. but I think they can still have a shot at the 7th seed.
Yeah, I have Los Angeles at the 7th seed too.
Oh, nice.
The Lakers. I think that
Oh, whoa.
I think that they are a basketball team that is going to struggle this season to play like a top level team consistently. That's it right there. That's it in a sentence. They are going to struggle to play like a top level team consistently. Will they show you the flashes? Indubitably. Will they have great performances against great teams? Indubitably. Do I expect them to beat the Bucks by like 20 randomly in a game this season? Sure. Do I think they might flame out in the first round of the playoffs? Yeah, also, man, unless they match up with a team that faces an injury late on in the season, I think we might get a Nuggets Lakers first round rematch. And I think the Nuggets might wipe the floor with them again. I mean, you take a look at this Los Angeles team. They're playing right now as we record this. And in game
They're battling.
one, Anthony
They're battling.
Davis, 0 points in the second half. LeBron James struggling tonight. This is not a team that can bring it every single night. This is not a team that has guys, D'Angelo Russell, Gabe Vincent are two guards that I think are volatile and are up and down. They have peaks, they have valleys. And so, yes, I love Austin Reeves and Taurean Prince for this team. Yes, Anthony Davis just scored his 25th point. But night in, night out, can this team consistently play at a top end level? My answer is no. I'm putting them at the 7th seed as a result. If you wanted to put them at 6 on my list over the team I will eventually reveal that I have at 6, I've got no problem.
Fair enough, man. Like I said, this tier 2 is the hardest tier in all my rankings. I just don't know what to do here, and I'm just chucking things right now. And so, yeah, I'm really nervous about picking these teams here. I'll tell you that. But hey, that's what makes this fun. It's sticking to something and going with it. But for me, it's predicting games played. I mean, honestly, I'm not picking the best team right now. It's not the order I'm putting these teams in. I'm putting them in the order of who's missing the most games, who cares about these awards, those type of things. So number 6, Draymond's already missing a bunch of games. Klay Thompson, I think, will miss a bunch of games. I think they're going to rest Steph for a bunch of games. And these rookies aren't ready to win. They're not rookies anymore, but I'm calling Kuminga and Moody still young pups, rookie-ish players. That's on Kerr for not prepping these guys for this type of year that they need them more than anything. I don't love the depth of Golden State otherwise. And Wiggins, I think he's just a ceiling raiser. I don't think he's a floor raiser. So I think in order for Wiggins to really matter here and be great, like he needs everybody playing and healthy. So that's where I got him. I got him at 6 here. Again, they can win as the 6th seed. They can win the championship if everybody's healthy and peaking. But I think we're going to see a lot of games where it's just Steph missing Draymond and Klay. We're going to see games without Steph. So no Jordan Poole to rely on this year. They're going to probably decline a lot scoring offensively. That's what I see.
Yeah, I don't hate any of that. Damn it. I have a very different prediction than you. I don't hate any of that.
Take it.
I hate that I don't hate any of that. For me, at the 6th seed, this is where I have the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Thank you.
I do think that with Jaden McDaniels doing a little more on offense, with Mike Conley slowing the pace down in the half court, being that calming presence, that Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert can have a good season. I think they're already off to a rough start in terms of especially Gobert. Towns, some poor shot selection already this season. It is a short season. Man, Anthony Edwards is so good. I'm not saying he's going to carry this team to 48 wins or however many, but can they win 44 games off the backs of their talent? Just even if it's not the best arrangement of talent fit wise, can they just be good enough to win some basketball games? I gave a couple predictions in the East that were like that with Atlanta and Chicago. I see something similar here. Just another year of running of this group together. I think they'll be better. I think they'll improve naturally. So I'm going to go with the Timberwolves at the 6th seed. If you wanted to put the Lakers at 6 and the Timberwolves at 7, I wouldn't mind one bit.
No, I appreciate you like saying teams that where they can go their range, because I think that matters here, and that's why tiers are so important to me, because that's where my confidence lies. And just teams fluctuating like 2 through 7 is a big tier for me. I truly believe all these teams are very, very close. Number 5, these guys are already missing time. Okay, like I would debated having these guys even lower, but like Kevin Durant's looking very good. I'm seeing 2 games of him already, and Booker was so freaking good last year in the playoffs. It's like hard to ignore that. And I want to put these guys even as high as 1 or 2, but I just can't. I can't. I don't like their depth yet. They haven't proven to be able to play together, the 3 of these guys, and the no point guard situation to me. Phoenix is coming in at 5. If they
Ooh,
somehow finish higher than this, if they somehow finish higher than this, I'm gonna be all in on Phoenix. I'll tell you that. Like,
I think you're going to
I mean,
regret that. I think they're definitely going to finish higher than this, and I think you shouldn't be all in them in the playoffs.
that's a fine take too, because we don't know what these guys look like yet. So you can kind of go a wide variety of directions with these guys. Nurkic is looking really good in these first 2 games. I'll tell you that.
The Suns,
That matters to me.
Lawrence Murray, friend of the pod, tweeted out the Suns traded for a center who would pass instead of look at the rim. Like that's what they're doing, right? I think they're going to be good. They have a collection of good basketball players, and I think this group of 3 is better than the group of 3 they assembled in Brooklyn. I just think that
What?
yeah, these are the 3 better
I'm gonna
players.
just tell you this right now. We got a huge pause there. That KD is so much better than this KD. Harden is so much better than well,
Booker is better than
he'd be going.
Harden.
No, he's not. No,
Yes,
he's not.
yes.
No,
Oh,
he's not.
yes. Oh,
So
yeah.
if anything, they were close to equal. That was still peak Harden, dude. He was in the MVP race. That
Beal
was
is
still
better than
peak.
Kyrie. Booker is better than Harden, and that KD is
Beal's
better
better than
than
Kyrie.
and that
No, he's
KD
not better than
that
Kyrie.
KD is better than
So
this one.
the
So
Booker Harden debate, but like where Harden overtakes him is the fit for those 3. It's like they don't have the passer
they need a
playmaker
number
that
1 option. They need a number 1 option.
who did.
A team with Kevin Durant on it needs a number 1 option.
Both teams had Kevin Durant.
Who's a
And then
number
they
2? Is a
have
great number 2.
Booker and Harden both could have been number 1s. And like
Booker's number 1. KD was number 1 in Brooklyn.
and that's fine when everybody
Because
else is that
Booker's
great.
better than the guys in Brooklyn.
I'm not willing to say Booker's going to continue to be the number 1. He was in the playoffs last year. There's no denying that. But like you can also say Harden was more important than KD in Brooklyn.
KD hasn't been out of the second round since 2019. He's never won a
And I'm
championship
fine with the KD slander.
without being a number 2. You got to look at the facts. You got to look at what he's won, because when you're talking about him as a top level player, you have to hold him to that same standard.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think that's such a blasphemous take because we haven't seen what Beal looks like here, and they don't have the playmaking passing. And I truly think that KD in Brooklyn was so much better than this KD defensively, and just had his full legs under him. But
That's totally fair.
we'll see what plays out. I love that you threw that out there though, because I'm holding you to that motherfucking take.
Let's do it.
All right.
That Brooklyn
Who'd you have at
team,
5?
that Brooklyn team was no bueno. At number
No
5,
bueno. They were unreal when they played
at-
together for those 16 games, man.
they played 6 hours of court time together. That's bullshit. I have the Sacramento Kings at 5.
COVID was bullshit.
I have the Sacramento Kings at 5. And the reason for that is because I love continuity and I love this team. Harrison Barnes is really good at basketball. Domantas Sabonis is really good at basketball. De'Aaron Fox is an elite player. He is a stud. Malik Monk is going to win 6th man of the year this season. Mike Brown is a fantastic head coach. I love the Chris Duarte ad for them. This is a feisty team. This is a fun team. And this is a good team, Zach. Not fine. They're good. 5th seed, Sacramento Kings.
Good's better than fine. All right. That makes sense. 3 Fs and even upgraded one of them to a good.
To a G.
All right.
Go.
No, I have nothing to push back there. I mean,
Love it.
That's it. And so I also have them at higher here at the 4 seed. I got Sacramento coming in at 4, which is a spot less than last year, but they're still in my tiers, so they could finish as high as number 2, like I said, 2 through 7. I think they're just a team that's going to stay healthy, and their chemistry's match. Like they're going to be very good every night and be very competitive. They're just a great regular season team. They could go out win 55 games and not shock me. Like they could literally win the West and not shock me. Um, it wouldn't. No, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But they could also lose in the first round after that. I probably might pick them to lose in the first round, to be honest, if they won the West even. But
Oh,
it all depends on how good Keegan Murray gets, because he's the one that has the untapped potential for me. Malik Monk can still get better for sure. I do like that 6-man of the year take. That's pretty
how
awesome.
about that dunk?
That dunk was nasty. That was fun. I think we're going to see a lot of that, and I think they're going to be one of the best league pass teams. So you have number 4. I'm not even going to guess. Who do you got it for?
I love the league pass take. At number 4, I have the other Los Angeles. Here is where I have the Clippers. I think the Clippers are going to be good this season. I think they get after in the regular season. Whether they reach a trade for James Harden or not, I think they're a solid team this year. If they do reach a trade for James Harden, I think maybe they take a little bit to get acclimated and then really kick into gear and start playing good basketball. Man, if there's a team that can get Harden to lock in, it's Ty Lue, it's Kawhi, it's Paul George. I think Russ Westbrook and these guys can all reach him. Um, and I think the Clippers are really good this season. If they don't get James Harden, still love Terrence Mann, love what they have going on. I love him as part of this starting five. And the trades they made at the deadline last year to improve their depth. I know Eric Gordon is in Phoenix, but Highland and Plumlee have some stuff to show. So we'll see how this ages for them. We'll see how they do, but I think they're going to be a really good team. I'd watch out for them in the playoffs this year. I've got them making the NBA Finals.
I love that. That's fantastic. I mean, especially with everything they've gone through, I'd be thrilled. Like, so with or without Harden, this is your pick.
Without
Or
Harden,
you
as of right now, I'm taking the Clippers to go to the Western Conference Finals, win it, and appear in the NBA Finals.
so if they get Harden, are you demoting them or are you
I'm gonna
even
leave
higher
him.
on them?
I'm gonna leave him
All right, I love it.
at finals appearance.
Fantastic. And real quick, I'm just gonna shout out Daryl Morey liking Kevin O'Connor's tweet tonight after the game. Kevin O'Connor goes, Sixers look so dang good. Daryl Morey should be incredibly patient and make sure they maximize James Harden's offer here. And Daryl Morey liked that tweet. So I think we're in for a long
Of
haul.
course he did. Of course he
Yeah,
did.
he missed one of the pettiest GMs of all time, and it sucks. I hate that. Like, I hate such a good play. I mean, I hope Harden goes back and joins the Sixers and buys in for a little bit at least.
You
Being
do?
that's I do. I don't want this guy to not play anywhere. I want him to play, and I want him to help maximize some team. If he goes back, he's going to buy in. I mean, at least for a game or two, and then we'll
Ha!
play it out from there. But yeah, I'd rather have him mucking things up on the court and making more friction. Even though Maxey was a lot of fun tonight without him.
He'll buy
Um,
in for a game or two is all time shit. Man, that is all
yeah,
time spin zone
but
level.
this is not like I'm a firm believer this is on Daryl Morey, and I don't. How can you expect to get more than what they're being offered? I just don't see that ever playing out. Like just because the contract's a large sum and maybe get a second or third team involved that gets desperate, but I think he screwed up by missing out on Dame and Drew Holiday, and not saying Dame would have been a guarantee by any means, but yeah, he could have got way better players than he didn't. The Clippers, I just think those two guys, I think they can finish this high for you, even if those guys play, I don't know, 60 games each. Like they don't need, like there's a lot of depth on this team I really like. Last year, 56 out of Paul George, 52 out of Kawhi, and they still finished number 5. Like that's not very much. So that's the cool thing about this team and a well-coached program. They can do wonders there. My number 3, this is my spiciest take of them all. You're going to just laugh hysterically, but this is where I have the Dallas Mavericks.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't like it. I don't like it. So just tear me a new one. It's cool. Like I just felt it in my bones to like,
Albert's gonna like you for that. I don't think anyone else will.
no, I just think we're gonna get a year out of Luka and Kyrie just put up a shit ton of points. I think I'm not
That's enough for
buying it.
awards for all NBA first and second team.
Eh.
Is that enough to win ball games?
Yeah, I think they're gonna win a bunch of ball games. I really do. I think Grant Williams is really going to be important. I think Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to have a bounce back year. Josh Green's going to take a leap. I'm buying all those things. Like, that's where I come to this conclusion. I think they have enough. Derek Lively's that's how I arrived at this, which sucks. A rookie. That's the part that got me here. So that's where I'm gonna laugh when we're 20 games in and they're 5 games below 500. So hold me to this one. Come at me, people. Dallas is what it is. I got you at 3. I'm hoping Luka's in the best shape of his life, which I think he might be. I really believe that. I think Kyrie wants to really do something. I think Kyrie is motivated. I'm buying all the storylines. So that's how they get here. Not buying them doing anything in the playoffs. I'm just focusing one day at a time with Dallas, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm going to be quick here, man. I've got the Phoenix Suns at number 3. It's because they've got 3 top end talents, along with guys like Josh Okogie and Yusuf Nurkic, who actually happen to fit well with them. I think they're going to win a lot of games in the regular season, and I don't think they make it past the second round in the NBA playoffs. But Denver and the Clippers in the conference finals. Sounds good to me. I don't see the Phoenix Suns making it deep in the playoffs. I can see all 3 of the stars having nice seasons and Beal kind of taking that back seat, but doing so gladly because it's for these other 2 guys and for a chance to win. I just don't buy them in the playoffs, but in the regular season, I think they'll win a whole lot of ball games.
Well, I'm going to throw this right back in your face. It's just a real quick hitter because you just went on a huge tangent saying this team's better than that Brooklyn team. And they were so close. They were on the verge of making the conference finals, and we're going to win it if they would have stayed healthy, a hamstring away and just a sliver of a foot of a shot. And now you're saying this Phoenix Suns not going to do anything in the playoffs. Wow. Okay, Chris.
I didn't think the Nets would win or make a
Yeah.
finals or ever win, and they didn't. So, I'm gonna stick
All
with
right.
that.
Here's the other one we really disagree on. And I'm not feeling confident in this one. That's especially they did win tonight. The Lakers won tonight. Let's give it up for the Los Angeles Lakers. I have them at number 2.
LeBron
Only
still owns Kevin Durant.
sure, fair. That's true. That's a fact. It's the depth for me. But is the depth gonna even matter? Because are these guys gonna play like? It looks terrible. Like, don't get me wrong. I think it looks terrible through 2 games. Like, LeBron's trying to coach really hard, and I just don't think these guys are that receptive to him. And this is through 2 games. Like, yikes, issues. I could see D'Lo being shipped out, sort of thing, and they need him to get to the 2 seed, unless they're trading him for James Harden, of course. So I would love James Harden here. I would absolutely love it here, even though I think it could be a disaster as well. Yeah, Los Angeles Lakers, 2-way team. Austin Reeves, I need a lot more out of you than these first 2 games to get here.
Yep, absolutely.
That Austin Reeves jump it's got to come sooner than later. But yeah, another. Gabe Vincent's taking all of his minutes. 35 minutes out of Gabe Vincent tonight. What the heck is that? Like, seriously. Rui only getting 12 minutes. LeBron, I need to hear. He's got to be pissed. Rui's 12 minutes. So
12.
super confident
Wow.
at that 3 and 2 slot. Everywhere else, I think I'm more
12
confident
minutes.
than my
Wow.
3 and 2.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
My roundabout way of
I get it. I get it.
rationalize.
At number 2, I have the Denver Nuggets. I think they are the best team in basketball, save the Bucks and Celtics. We'll see those 3 battle it out this season. Who can claim that title? Regular season, I'm predicting an MVP year from someone else. And I think, I've said I think Tatum has an MVP caliber year. There's someone in the Western Conference I think has a really strong case for MVP this year. And it's Nikola Jokic he should win it. He should win MVP this season. He's going to be good enough to deserve it. I don't think he'll win it. I think someone else is going to get it. His team is going to, being the number one seed, is going to be a big part of his case for that MVP. I've got Denver at number 2. I think Murray makes his first All-Star game. I think Gordon gets a lot more recognition this season, and I think the Denver Nuggets have a great year. I just also don't think they win more games than my number one seed. Denver, mark their under. Maybe like 53. It's like 54 and a half. Maybe they win like 53, 52, and are the second seed.
That's fine. Yeah, I got nothing for you there, but I'm trying to figure out who this one seed is because I was writing down your teams and then I just stopped, and now I think I know who it is. I'll let you surprise me, but number 1, I got Denver. Obviously, I'm very confident in it. Like, I don't think they have to do anything crazy. I don't think it's going to be like 60 wins to take this number 1 slot. I think in the East it might be. I think in the East, Boston or Milwaukee could win 60 plus games. Do they want to? Phoenix, if those guys somehow stayed healthy and they wanted to make history, could they do it? Yeah, I think they could. I like their depth enough to be able to do that, but does the management want to? Is that their goal? Probably not. But Denver, I think they just need to keep doing what they're doing. Jokic, as long as he plays 65 games, they'll win 53 plus. I think MPJ should take another leap. Aaron Gordon is who he is. They fit perfectly. Not worried about their depth. And Jamal Murray, 25-ish. I think
Sure.
he's the one. I think he's the one taking the huge leap on this team. It's him and MPJ that can take a massive leap. Everybody else could be pretty gradual yet. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
With the number 1 seed, who
Golden State Warriors
will be the runner-up for MVP is Stephen Curry, and I've got the Golden State Warriors taking home the number 1 seed. The award I do think they win is Most Improved Player, Jonathan Kuminga, plus 3,500. Like him to cash that out this year. I think he'll show lots of improvement. He's a really athletic guy, and he'll have to step up in his role this season. You add that with being the lead scoring option for Chris Paul to dish the rock to on cuts and off-ball movement. I just like Kuminga to have an impactful season, draw a lot of fouls, get to the line, and up his scoring total a great deal. You take a look at the Warriors, they had to start Chris Paul in that game 1 where they looked a little rough. I think Draymond Green being back will be really big for them. I think Draymond has a really good defensive season. I think everyone in the building kind of knows that if Steph is going to have a last hoorah, a last championship season, a last really big awards push season, media hype season, it's got to be this season. They've got to come together. Jordan Poole's off the team. The Steph and Clay and Iguodala, I know we're not happy with Draymond, with what happened with Jordan Poole. This is a team that might not all be buddy-buddy right now. This is a group that's got to dig in. And I trust a Steph Curry-led group to dig in. Give me the Golden State Warriors as my 1 seed. It's an unpopular pick. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to take that leap and go with GSW.
I love it. I really do. Steph's my favorite player in the league. He's been for a very long time, and not much would make me happier other than Anthony Edwards winning MVP and the Wolves winning the West. I think the Steph route's a little more likely, unfortunately. But man, I think it's just predicated on so much Chris Paul. The Kuminga MIP pick was the most shocking pick I think I've heard anybody say on any platform. So I'm glad it happened here. Thank you for that. That's going to put me to bed nicely. Can you please explain that one a little further? I mean, we're definitely going to do an award show. Or
give me 15 points a game. Give me 7 rebounds. Give me 1.5 assists.
Bro, that doesn't get it done.
That on a number 1 seed.
Okay, getting a little closer.
I think you're looking at a lot of free throws for him this year. He's so athletic. He's going to draw contact around the rim. They just got to give him opportunities to get going downhill or to go off the dribble and attack that paint.
Usually it has to
cutting
be
off the ball in that Golden State system. Yes, but I think that this award lost. I think awards have lost the plot recently. I think NBA awards are kind of off the rails recently, and I think now they kind of use these other awards that aren't MVP or Coach of the Year to service the good teams and players, the good teams that didn't win the other big awards. So like, yeah, one player wins MVP. All right, well, the best team in the other conference, they're getting Coach of the Year. It's like it feels so politicky. I don't want to say political because it sounds like I'm a conspiracy theorist. I got to keep it a little funny. But I just think that these awards are such BS nowadays that Kuminga will be deserving of it enough where because he's on what I think will be the 1 seed, he's going to take home that MIP. I like to make my predictions match up. I like to make sure they all make
Yeah, I like
sense as
that.
a whole. So I've got Stephen Curry second for MVP. I've got Kuminga first for MIP.
I think I'm trying to relate him to anybody that's recently won it because it's a really hard one to relate. Maybe 2015 Jimmy Butler. His stat line wasn't insane
Yeah, I
and
just don't know where the leap comes from
very good
someone
team.
else. I feel like teams are for the most part in terms of their lead scorers are running it back, or then if they're not, it's because they're acquiring stars. Devin Vassell, good pick because people are going to be watching the Spurs. How good is that team going to be? Do they care to
Right, that
reward
matters.
them with awards if Wemby's already getting Rookie of the Year?
Yeah. That's my favorite award. We don't need to discuss that now. We'll have a award show or something, but um, you make up a great point because the options are less than years past. I would probably agree to that. I have some names, but then we're just gonna start talking about them, and we
We
don't
got to
necessarily need.
we got to cut it here. Zach, any final predictions for this Western Conference before we get out of here?
I think my biggest prediction is gonna be that no matter how it looks at the end of the year, it has only little say for certain teams. Okay, like I think a team like Golden State really could use home court advantage. I think they could. The Lakers,
Sacramento needs it if they're going to make a deep
yes, I
playoff run.
agree on Sacramento. The Lakers, I don't think they need it. The Clippers, I don't think they need it. Phoenix, maybe they have a great crowd. I don't know though. I don't know if they need it. Beal and KD, I mean, I think they can play about anywhere type of thing.
I think Booker's the one
Hopefully.
guy that can play anywhere.
Yeah, there we go. All right, then they all can. Um, let's do that. But yeah, that's my big takeaway here is the home court seating is only going to matter for a couple teams. There's going to be some shockers at the top of the West. There's going to be a couple teams, whether it's the Timberwolves, the Pelicans, the Grizzlies without Ja. Somebody up there is going to be like the Kings last year and just surprise a ton of people. Maybe the Kings win the West and shock us.
I think that team is the Clippers, and I don't think it's a surprise. I think they're just due. Um,
That
listen,
would
my
be the surprise. I mean, if they played
to
enough
you,
games to.
my crazy Western Conference prediction is that he will not win the award. He will not be legitimately considered, but he will finish in he will receive several fourth and fifth place votes for MVP. That he is Zion Williamson. I think he has a big season this year. I think the Pelicans are good. You know, I'm in on this Brandon Ingram running the offense thing. I think Zion is the biggest beneficiary of that, obviously, as the best role man, maybe in the NBA this year. Let's see that leap from Zion. Let's put these storylines to rest about his work ethic and you name it. Let's get a big season out of Big Z.
Let's end on that note. Love your hot takes, man. Keep on bringing them.
You went more reasonable, so I had to go with the hot take. Listen, thanks everyone for tuning in. Subscribe to the show, follow the show, rate us 5 stars, give us a thumbs up, you name it. We really appreciate the support. We thank you for coming back, continuing to watch us. Recommend us to a friend, recommend us to a family member. Show the pod some love, and we'll keep showing y'all love. We'll keep releasing episodes weekly here on All Things NBA. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting. We'll catch you next time.